reality is, the more risk you take, the luckier you get. So people need to learn to take one big risk a day. Every day take a risk and build up that risk muscle, because risk is where success comes.
Risk must be taken for the greatest. Hazard in life is to risk nothing.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time.
I think that most people, the reason that they lack success in their life is that they lack the courage to make the decisions that need to be made to put them in the position that they want to be in.
You can get so scared, and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking, in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
All right. Welcome to R2R episode, live stream number 149 in the house. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, you need to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, post notifications, you know the drill. But make sure you pound the like button. We don't get as many likes as we should across the board. On YouTube, on X, none of the above. You need to pound the like button, repost it everywhere. Now, if you're on X, which it looks like we get the most views on X compared to YouTube, you're gonna need to retweet this, pound the heart button there to get the Twitter, aka freedom of speech platform, algorithm pumping and grinding. Now, always remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm for damn sure not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. Don't ever allow an influencer on any social media platforms out there to influence you when it comes to crypto, because you could lose it all. Damn, you could lose everything. For real though. So let's take a look who's here today. What's up, Willie B. Long 33? Yeah, dog. Thank you for being here. Cyphex, what's poppin'? I hope you're having a great morning. Tedward P. Yo. We live, boys. Yes, we are. Shrey, hey, House of Warlords. Shout out to you. What's going on? DGens, exclusive club, exclusive. Thank you. Appreciate everybody that made it here this morning, right? I have yet to watch the Richard Hart recorded video. I have yet to watch it yet. I went to sleep. Probably I laid down 8:30, maybe fell asleep 9:30, and went on my phone hours later, woke up, and I was like, what? Good old Richard Hart posted that video that he talked about, that he kind of hinted. So I was too tired, and I was going to listen to it this morning, but I had a lot to do. So you're going to see the live reaction, the real live reaction. I was even going to come home and prep and listen to a little bit, bits and pieces, but I caught up with the conversation, so I have no idea what he said. But I'm going to let you know how it makes me feel and what I think. Let's take a look at the sentiment, though. Are people hyped over Richard's words, over his recording? We saw gas go up last night. We saw price action last night. Pulse up 28%, 4 zeros and a 3. PulseX, 4 zeros and a 252. Inc, $1.37. Hex, 2 zeros and a 630. Now, I believe in timing is everything. Timing is everything. Hear me out here before we get into the video and listening to good old Richard Hart. I'm going to have to shut this off right here, too, this music, because we're going to be listening to Richard soon. All right. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin. $96,612 Bitcoin, $1,807 Ethereum. The big day for Ethereum is today. The Petra upgrade, right? The Petra upgrade takes place. And I think Richard Hart was thinking one or two things. He either is trying to ride the hype of this upgrade being super bullish for not only Ethereum's protocol, the smart contracts. It really is going to enhance the ability to stake more via the validators. We're going from like 32 max staked ETH to 2,000 plus. Layer 2s are going to be like the most bullish upgrade. This is going to be a major upgrade that's going to be super bullish for validators and layer 2s. It's going to help, DeFi, NFTs, DeFi dApps and all that on Ethereum, but it's not going to have as big of an impact as it does with the layer 2s. You're going to feel the most impact there. And obviously validators. You can stake way more ETH compared to 32 Ethereum to 2,000 plus. I think it's like 2,048, right? So at the exact timing of the release of the Petra upgrade, Richard Hart decides I'm going to go and record a video. So I do believe he was jumping on the opportunity of the hype. There's two scenarios here. To help his platform, his blockchain get a boost prior to this upgrade, right? Or, which is smart, right? You start to see PulseChain go up. It didn't go up enough for me to think people really just got a little bit excited, and you can see it starting to come back down. If we actually take a look, and let's pull it up on Deck Screener really quick and take a look at what the price of Pulse and PulseX did and all the other assets. Because like I said, time is everything. If you timed it to do that, it's definitely like a double whammy for his ecosystem in the time frame that he did it. Oh, they're going to have a big upgrade. Let me record a video and make it even more bullish. So we did see in the past one day, we unlock this here, go up. That's a big jump from 4 zeros and a 2.6, go up over 4 zeros and a 3. We're coming back down. I think we're going to continue to go back down. If I'm honest, listen, I think Pulse goes down from here 50%. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just what I believe. It is what it is. If you didn't draw it out, you didn't draw it out. But the timing of the video and the timing of the upgrade, how I feel about what's going to happen here is I do think that the Bollinger Band squeeze is in effect. We're either going to really launch north really hard, or it's going to do where we're at now, kind of just sustain its price and start to drastically go down, because the crowd is confused, okay, as far as what exactly this upgrade is doing. All right. And we're going to take a look here we're going to start the video off here soon. The crowd is not entirely sure about the upgrade, right? So the people that are the users, the investors, they want immediate gratification, right? Like, when moon, we got the upgrade, we should be mooning, everybody come back to ETH, right? So I think he did the video also, as smart as he is, to not only pump in case it does pump as well, and we have that forward momentum with ETH price going up, and now PulseChain right behind it. The founder just came out, made a video after all these years. I think he also did it for the other side of the fence. If it's a nothing burger with the Petra upgrade, and since we are a leverage play on Ethereum, okay, and it goes south, he fought the next leg down, and you got to think at the same time, he watches the charts. And we've seen what he's done to the charts as far as basically manipulate it, right? You know that yesterday Richard Hart initiated a pump right before the daily close. Are you aware that he initiated a pump right before the daily close? That, in fact, was a genius move. I can see why he did that. But it also something a lot of people don't understand or even noticed. So if the Petra upgrade doesn't sustain at least some sideways action until the market does go bull, like everyone thinks, and it does crash, at least PulseChain is up and it'll start to crash with Ethereum. not as hard as it would if it had done nothing, right? Because we weren't going to see this price action just because of the Petra upgrade, because Ethereum hasn't done much. We saw the price action and what he did at the end of the day on the daily close based off the release of, hey, should I make a video? And then the video came. So let's go ahead and take a listen here. Listen to the intro. 52 minutes. Let's go.
Court and did not settle and did not have their case dropped. This guy, me, I did that. And you know why I did that? Well, 1, I'm innocent. 2, I've got great lawyers. 3, the government decided to bring a really stupid case against a really honest person. And guess what happened? The judge saw through it and dismissed the case in its entirety, something that almost no other cryptocurrency has ever achieved. And they didn't just charge me. They charged me, Hex, PulseChain, PulseX. They actually charged software as a defendant. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine math that you can run at home and execute on your own, charging it as a defendant? Unbelievable, right? It would set a terrible precedent for all of open source software everywhere, where anybody that ran anything anywhere would somehow encumber the founder and the publisher with some type of liability. Insane, terrible. And I beat them in court. The case was not dropped. The case was not settled. We beat them in court, and we got something that I hear is better than a judgment with prejudice, and that is a judgment on the merits, a in favor of judgment, where it's not a question who the victor was. The victor was me, and PulseChain and PulseX and Hex. But it's a little bit weird to call software code that you could run in the privacy of your.
My first response to that, I want to chime in whenever I can during these clips, is Richard is back. Richard hasn't changed much, right? Richard hasn't changed much at all. Looks a little bit older. A little bit more gray hairs. But his confidence, right? That has what's always driven people to listen and like him. To me, at this point, I have taken a different point of view, because I got to the point where maybe I'm being a little too cultish with this Richard Hart guy, right? As you notice, he's like, me. I beat them. And before, when I would hear me, I called the top of the day. Me, I did this. I'd be like, yeah, you're the greatest. You're the man. You're a god, right? And I think people are going to listen to that and still feel that way, right? So I kind of feel like, yeah, I could do the speed. Let me see if I can do the 1.5x speed. I feel like now that I've kind of gone away from the me, Richard. I look at it differently, because in the same sentence, right, that he's talking about me. I was right. I'm thinking, man, you were one bullet away from not beating the SEC. Donald Trump gets assassinated. This ain't happening. It's not so much that Richard was right. I think he always believed he was right. Okay? And he might have been right. But you were never going to get noticed as being right with the wrong administration. Trump basically dragged everything out of court when it comes to crypto. Everything was getting dropped. Other than it was questionable with Richard Hart's fraud case. So me. I'm like, hey, bro, you gotta give a little credit to Donald Trump and the administration, because they saved a lot of crypto projects like PulseChain, but they also saved Richard. The Trump administration and how they've sliced and diced up the SEC and what they're doing across the board is the reason why we're here today talking about PulseChain having this victory. Okay. So it's not so much me. You paid for the lawyers. Yeah, maybe I paid for the lawyers too, though, with my sacrifice money. Maybe we all did, but it's good that he won. But I'm curious if he's going to continue to be that me person. I want after this much time a humble person. I want a humble individual that's not going to cram information down my throat and make me feel cultish again. I want humble Richard, and I've only listened to him really quick here. But, this has a lot to do with the new administration, Donald Trump. You know, it wasn't going to go this way under no Kamala Harris. You don't have Richard Hart on camera today under no Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, but you don't, okay? In addition to that, it's funny because he said they were trying to sue software, but I won. Me. I thought there was no me, but let's tune in.
Your home, a victor, but since they were silly enough to charge them as defendants, well, I guess, you know, the judge also had to declare them as victors. Very, very silly. And if you go and read the actual oral arguments in front of the judge, you know, it looks really awesome for the innocent guy, me. It sucks that in this world where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, you have this massive chilling effect against your free speech because there's a team of guys sitting in a room combing through everything you've ever said and anything you're saying and anything that you might say and looking for something to screw you up on. It's happened to President Donald Trump. It's happened to a lot of people in cryptocurrency, sadly. And then it happened to me. But I didn't settle like everyone else. And by the way, you know, a lot of people were filing amicus briefs and people in the industry were helping each other out and, you know, putting up a united fight, a united stand. Nobody in the industry helped me. Not at all. Not a little bit. So we did it on our own, just like we did everything else. The S-load fee got raised. Oh, well, no problem. S-load fee and the transactions are looking nice and affordable on PulseChain. Oh, you know, we removed you from the front end. Uniswap.
Hold on. It's cheap on PulseChain, but it ain't cheap and affordable when he said he was going to make a video. The gas fees went up and it was congested. Okay. So there's like some partial things that I want to point out there. Like we got a validator problem going on. And I don't know if he's ever going to come out and be like, hey guys, we need more validators, or he will even accept anything other than your highest blessing or, you know, hey, you're the greatest. But I'm going to tell you right now, Richard, the gas is not cheap, like you say, on a really, really high volume environment. It's actually the most annoying blockchain I use right now on a daily basis during the times of high volume. I hope he addresses that, but right now it seems like he's just like, nah, we're cheap. That ain't the truth, bro.
Head removed hex from the front end. They have since added it since we won in court. They've added hex back to the front end on the Ethereum network. And it's like, you know, why would you charge, if not the most honest person in crypto, one of the most honest people in crypto, with lying, and then go through hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of the video and send subpoena the whole universe. And then, you know, when the judge asks you, okay, well, show me the lie, you're just like, I don't know. I don't know where the lie is, Your Honor. You know, it's terrible and costly and silly and a waste of the government's resources that could have been out there, you know, doing good in the world, getting bad guys, and there's no shortage of bad guys to get. So, moral of the story: if you come at the king, you're going to lose. I prepared for this my whole life. You know, I did as much research as I could. I researched the law to the best of my ability, and I was right, and everyone else was wrong. And that's what's up. So, thank you to the Honorable Judge Amon, the federal district judge in the Eastern District of New York, that saw through the lies. And there were a lot of lies, misquotations, just disgusting. Maybe not as disgusting as the debt box case, but pretty disgusting. I mean, they got full sanctions in the debt box case for the number of lies the SEC did, telling lies to the judge in that case. Yeah, I had a remote control record. I accidentally stopped it. Rage. Haven't done a video in a while. So what's new? Well, we've got, with this new legal clarity that almost no other coin in the world has, including Ethereum, you know, no one's willing to go on record and say Ethereum's not security. I mean, I think I heard somebody from the CFTC say that, but nobody from the SEC that I'm aware of has gone on record saying that. Look, I think that software that you run in the privacy of your own home is unlikely to be a security. So I would prefer a world where people can make their own decisions. You know, for a disclosure-based regulator to pretend that disclosures don't matter is just wild. But anyway, long story short, I won, they lost, I was right, everyone else was wrong. And that's what happens when you're honest. You have the facts on your side. You know, there's a lot of people out there that aren't honest. They say a lot of things that aren't true. They mislead you. A lot of people that launch coins suck, and a lot of coins that launch suck, which is why I don't talk about many coins. Very, very few. I don't like to talk about many coins because so many of them are garbage. But that's life. You know, so many outfits that you could wear suck. So many things you could say suck. You really have to curate. You know, that's why DJs exist. They play music that's good, and that's why you know, you try and follow people that are smart. You try and learn from people that have experience.
I just gotta say, like, I can't help but think in that moment about PDI. I don't know why. Like, you guys know me. I'm on the fence about PDI for a long time, but, like, he just says I don't talk about coins that suck. Like, you posted a lot about PDI, so I'm wondering if the PDI guys out there are kind of, like, getting a little bit more, like, revived energy based off that, because that's the first thing I thought of. Like, because he doesn't talk about any tokens out there, like at all, like never even. He wouldn't even bring up Deck Screener during the Christmas audio because of the tokens that it had, scheming at the top of the ranks and all that. He wouldn't even mention Deck Screener. So he's tweeted so much about PDI. It's just like, it makes you wonder, like, are these PDI people crazy thinking he does talk about it because he has or had some affiliation? Because it doesn't go with what he's saying, right? That's just my first thought. Let's keep listening.
Experience. How many things have we seen fail while Hex has operated flawlessly, PulseChain's operated flawlessly? Tons of things. Billions and billions and billions of dollars lost all over the place by people that think they're better than you. But you didn't lose $1 billion. They did. Like there's no like self-awareness in this industry. They don't realize who the good actors are. I'm a good actor, and a lot of other people out there are not. So with this new regulatory certainty, either people are going to work with us because what's missing, right? You've got a unique product and a unique feature with time locking and Hex. You've got a faster, cheaper Ethereum in PulseChain that has higher throughput, lower latency, lower fees, and none of the L2 vampires. Hey guys, you tried the L2 thing. It didn't work out, huh? You regret that now, don't you? Yeah. Come to an L1. Come to PulseChain. It's more secure, more composable. It's the idea that they incentivize people to steal brand awareness from Ethereum using L2s and then fracture liquidity and then introduce latency and then introduce massive risk. The majority of these L2s, the vast majority, if they turn off their centralized sequencer, you can't transact anymore. Your money's gone. Bye-bye. Are you in blockchain for trusted counterparty risk? I'm in blockchain for trustlessness. I'm in blockchain for permissionlessness. I'm in blockchain for doing things that make the world a better place. Having to beg someone for your money is the opposite of why the blockchain was invented, and that's all L2s are. 99% of them. Absolutely terrible decision from the Ethereum guys, and their price chart has paid the price for it. It's down over 4 years now. That sucks. It used to be 5K. Now it's, 1,400 a few weeks ago. I think 1,800 now. That sucks, man. $1,800 Ethereum sucks, especially when gold's at all-time highs, Bitcoin's nearing all-time highs again. Do I think it'll get back up? Yep, I do. Especially if institutions are buying, which they are. How many ETFs are there out there right now? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are the two large ones. So if your thesis is that institutions are going to be the guys that are buying, well, it's nice to have an ETF. Now, that being said, Ethereum and Bitcoin did really, really well before they had ETFs, when they had lower market caps, right? So take, for instance, the liquidity that you see in PulseChain, PulseXX. You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment because it's easier to get them because it takes less economic energy because there's less of it for sale. PulseChain has less inflation than both Ethereum and Hex and Bitcoin. But what has even less inflation than PulseChain is PulseX. PulseX has deflation. There's less PulseX now than there's ever been. And for the rest of time, there will always be less PulseX than there's ever been because it only burns and it can never inflate. And, I think 1.4 trillion of it has been burned so far.
Yeah, hitting on to what he said about the God candles. And like a lot of us have been talking about this too as well with the low liquidity, the strategic way to make, a God candle. That leads me to just, and like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but the best thing I tell myself in understanding and seeing the green God candles that happened with Hex, in order to capitalize on that, at the best of my ability with the technology that's around now, is technology that PulseX doesn't currently have, and hopefully does, is an upgrade where you can basically set buy and sell, limit orders instead of market buying, because with the low liquidity, God candles happen fairly easily. We know that. But the opposite happens as well. So if you want to call it a God candle, then I guess we call it the mark of the beast 666 dips, right? And the 666 dips happen right after those God candles, and only a few people capitalize on them. And it's usually the people that have the experience and the people that are in the know and are aware what's happening, that are setting their limits to sell at these rates, at these price points, right? So if you have like an exchange that you use, maybe it's 9 millimeter, 9 mm, or 9 inch that has these abilities, right? And you do think these God candles are going to happen. Well, the best move I can make is setting those sell walls up at the prices where I think we'll reach, right? And not everybody's going to be able to put a sell wall up or a sell limit at the same amount and make that amount. But if you set them up strategically, you can have that full-blown experience, because the God candle can come and go in a New York minute, and there's nothing, right? It doesn't matter how long it lasts. Richard Hart or any other founder or any other investor will be able to go out there and say, we did a 100x. And that 100x could have really truly been cashed out by one or two people, but they'll forever be able to cement it as a footprint that it happened, even only if 2 out of 1,000 people actually made those returns based off liquidity. So there will not be enough liquidity for all of you to exit at the top. But if now that we have the tools that we didn't in Hex, right, available, or maybe I didn't know how to use them at the time, I can really catch those tops by placing, market orders for sales. And that's really the only way, like, you're going to be able to catch that in an environment where we're at. This is a repeat of Hex. The reason why I did a 10,000x is because the low liquidity, right? So he is reinventing the scenario. But the thing you got to keep in mind on why the market, why setting up market limits and sells and all that good stuff is important, because now you do have the fact that there was $1 billion sacrificed, right? That people are waiting to break even or exit or sell over the top. And you're going to be fighting slippage. Gas fees will be high, like you've not ever experienced them, because it's been pretty bad on PulseChain at certain moments. So these are things you got to consider when a God candle is talked about, on how you're going to actually capitalize on that. Because believe me, if you're not ready to go, you're going to have a hard time catching it. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're with your family, maybe you're asleep. But keep that in mind. There are tools out there to make sure that, hey, this God candle can hit X price. I'm going to set up a wall right there. I'm going to make sure I hit that and make the money, because as fast as the God candle comes, the 666 dip is right there behind it for people trying to cash out. And there is a lot of money waiting to do that. Let's go. Let's continue.
So far, that's a lot. And you can, on the Richard Hart Twitter account, you can see a guide on how to go into the Block Explorer and look at the contract and just look at the number of burnt PLSX. And if you click the GWEI, GWEI checkbox, it'll remove a bunch of zeros and show you the PulseX number, because it has a bunch of extra zeros for resolution. It's like how many decimals, when you add a new token, it asks you how many decimals it has. It has a lot of decimals. So we got great news. We've got regulatory certainty that almost no other coin has. If people don't start doing nice things for us, working with us, listing, etc., I wouldn't be surprised to see people just start up competitors. The regulatory environment's never been nicer. I mean, you had a memo from Todd Blanche of the Department of Justice, which specifically was titled Ending Regulation by Enforcement, or Ending Regulation by Prosecution. And he said that a lot of people were being prosecuted for things they shouldn't be. It's a really great memo. You should read it. It's by the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche. I think he's the second in command of the Department of Justice underneath Pam Bondi. So, it's like, I think it's President, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche. Well, that's about as high up as you're going to get. And, it set regulatory priorities to do things that would help enforce laws and help people, stop getting robbed and a lot of other really good things. Let the SEC do their job. Let law enforcement do its job. Writing regulations is not something that the Department of Justice is supposed to do. The legislative branch is supposed to write laws. The executive branch is supposed to enforce laws. The executive branch is not supposed to write laws. It's checks and balances, three branches of government: executive, judicial, legislative. And I'm glad. It would be nice if the executive stopped doing a denial of service attack on the judicial by doing less bad things that the judicial had to unwind. So 2 years ago, the executive decided to file a bad lawsuit against me and Hex and PulseChain and chill our free speech and chill our ability to publish free and open source software that is used by others to publish and associate their thoughts publicly. That's wild. And then they sent out all these subpoenas to people that are basically reporters doing their own research and reporting what they find. Original researchers, people in our community, they're not spouting off things that they read from somebody else like a normal reporter reading a teleprompter. They're doing their own original research, and they should have the same protections against interference with the media process, where you go and you learn and you publish to the public things that they could improve their lives with, knowledge, like what I'm doing with you right now. I am stating to you verifiable facts that I hope will make your life better. For instance, there was a conference that I didn't know about. It's called PulseChain 2055 conference. I guess we love the 5.5s. So for instance, the maximum length stake that you can make is 5,555 days in Hex. The Hex.com diamond has 555.55 carats and 55 facets. And then the judgment came out on May 5th, which is 5/5 of 2025. It's just funny. I think numerology is stupid. I don't believe in it. But branding and shelling points and everyone kind of focusing on the same thing, it's kind of fun, right? It's good for just for fun. So it's also funny, the final judgment is like document ID number 888 or something. Now I'm telling you, like, numerology is stupid and I don't like it, but these are just a couple things that popped out at me. It's just funny. So where was I? I don't know. No, I don't have a script. I'm just telling you the truth as I know it. So we had a beautiful document from Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States Department of Justice, trying to get rid of all this waste of resources and misallocation of resources that's making the United States a worse place and injuring what Donald Trump, the President of the United States, has declared by executive order to be a critical industry. So do you want to help the United States? Are you subject?
All right, we're about 14 and a half minutes in to his 52-minute-and-a-half speech. And listen, it's been a long time since we heard you, Richie, so we'll see if he gets into it. I want to hear more detail about PulseChain and PulseX and the market and the P copies and all that. So I'm hoping he mentions some of that stuff because I'm not into all that judicial stuff and when it comes to the law. Like, I don't care about none of that. Hey, they released a document that says you beat them in court. You defeated them. I'm good with that, homie. Like, you don't have to explain to me none of this. I want to know, what's going to make PulseChain great again. I want to know, like, the onboarding strategies, anything that's going to be implemented on PulseX that's going to make the PulseX swap good technology. It's right now, I'm not experiencing anything that I haven't with PulseX on the other end, other than it now has pump tires, and on the V1, it's burning PulseX. Pulse is burning on the other side with pump tires. Hopefully he gets into other things, but I think that the deep scenario, the deep topic is what's been going on chain. I hope he addresses what the speculation with Maria. I hope he talks about the P copies. Why did you make a farm with P wrapped Bitcoin at the beginning and then remove it after with the $2,500 and it rugged down to below $100? Why did you tweet about P-Dye so much? And what are we going to do about the validators, right? Like, I want to continue to have those conversations out there when I stream, and I hope he addresses it too, because we know, hey, when he announced and the price of Pulse started going up last night, gas fees went up like crazy, and the blockchain was congested. He did mention something too about he thinks Ethereum is going up. All right, let me digest that thought here, because old Thomas, who thought Richard Hart was an absolute god, I was part of the cult, and I still am a believer, but I have both sides of the fence now where I analyze it because I've had 2 years of data of what he's actually done. And he is saying a lot of institutional money is going into Ethereum. Great. A lot of institutional money is going to be diversified in the other technologies as well, like Solana and other layer ones and layer twos, Hedera, Hashbar. There's a lot of things out there. It's not just institutional money going into Ethereum where he says, hey, it's going back up. I would have been like, you're right, it's going back up. I got to remember and stand up straight and go, wait a minute. You damn near bought the top with $600 million in Ethereum. So you're not perfect, because I would just say, all right, I got to buy more PulseChain right now. And I am buying the dips, right? But this isn't the perfect specimen that I thought it was before. I now know he does make mistakes. I now know this, but for that reason, institutions buying ETH is not enough for me to think PulseChain is going to go up because we're leveraged on ETH. I think he wants it, so he's biased with that. Of course, he has to want and think that Ethereum is going up, but I no longer believe that because of the tech that's available. So I am like still on board with him like I always am, but I'm just not like in the cult, right? Hey, you say it's going up. I know you need it to go up because you bought it at 3,700, so at least go to 4,000. That's where I'm at there. So if he can make it easy to create validators and help us during congestion times to make the gas fees affordable and the blockchain usable, if he can address that, I'll be happy. Let's go back and tune in what good old RH is saying now.
To the command of the Supreme Commander of the United States, the President. I think he might even be above Supreme Commander. I think. Anyway, yeah, probably you are. Probably that's your boss. Probably you should follow the law and orders. So like, If the president of the United States says the cryptocurrency is a critical industry and it matters and you should try and help it instead of hurt it, probably you should try and help us instead of hurt us. And there's a lot of us out there, millions and millions and millions and millions. And that's why, I dislike gatekeepers. I dislike big corporate entities. I think cryptocurrency was invented to replace all those guys. But at least Coinbase is out there doing good lobbying and trying to get good laws passed. I'm not saying all their laws are good. I think they have an angle where they want to, make USDC better than other things because they make money on USDC. So I'm not saying every law they produce is great, but they are doing a lot of good work with Paul Grewal. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce his name, but he's the chief legal officer over Coinbase. These guys are filing cases they won a case in court against FinCEN to get Tornado Cash removed from the OFAC sanctions list. This is an example of a human being or a few human beings at the United States government chilling your speech, chilling your ability to associate with others, chilling your ability to do math and publish it publicly on the blockchain. A guy or a few guys in the United States made it impossible or illegal for you to do that. And then the court had to stop them and say, no, that's not okay. You can't list code that people run from their houses as though it were an entity to be sanctioned. And then they try and play games. They try and go, oh, okay, we'll stop, but don't put a judgment on us. We don't need an extra control. We're just going to stop on our own. The number of angles and lies and misleading things that you see the guys on the prosecutorial side do, it's just wild. You're like, why? Guys, there's laws, there's rules. I mean, I just heard in the Samurai case, I just heard that the prosecutors have a meeting set now with the judge, I believe tomorrow, regarding a Brady violation, which is where the prosecution hides evidence that would lend towards the innocence of the accused party. And apparently FinCEN directly told DOJ that they didn't think Samurai would be considered a money transmitter because they didn't actually receive money. But then DOJ hid that for a couple of years from the defense and from the judge, apparently. Go read the docket. Not a lawyer. Go read the docket. Just telling you the news of heard it. Yeah, like why, guys? You have the entire United States funding and machine behind you. Why are you lying and making the government look bad? There's no reason to be doing this lying. It's not necessary or ethical or moral or allowed. And, go look up what happened to the Securities and Exchange Commission in the debt box case where they had to pay the defendant's attorney fees and were sanctioned and then closed the office. The SEC closed the office that was handling that case. They just closed the whole office. Disgusting. So, just for record, I beat the SEC in court. Why? Well, man, go read the judge's ruling, okay? I'm innocent. They said things about me that aren't true. That's not fair. And there's a standard that you have to meet. There's a lot of standards you have to meet. Let's focus on the positive things. Talking about the past and why things sucked, it's not really useful. We won, right? Let's focus on the next thing. I guess I mentioned some of these things because I want the United States to be a good place. And there's a lot of really cool people that live there that I want the best for. And the better the machine works, the better it is for everybody.
Oh, God. I really hope he moves on the PulseChain next. We're about to hit the 20-minute mark of him talking. I'm like, I don't want to hear anything about the law or anything about the suit. If you want, I can read about that stuff. We haven't heard you talk in 2 years, okay? It's been 2 years since you've done a video, Richard. Save it for the tweets, right? So it looks like he's about to transition, which I'm excited for. Again, this is my first time watching this. I'm like, bro, but I don't want to talk about dead bucks. I don't want to talk about the court case. You beat them. Great. Congratulations. The Lakers won the championship a couple years back, too. What was it, a few years back during the bubble? We're not going on and on about it. Today's today. Please, for the love of God. All right, Richie.
If you have more guys spending their time screwing up real criminals, doing real evil, and not wasting their time trying to harm the good, honest people, publishing open source software that you can run or not from the comfort of your home, spreading ideas, doing research and publishing it, why would you interfere with that? It's just so wild to me. But the judge saw through it. Hopefully more judges, more places will do the same. The world will be a better place. So what should everybody focus on? I keep beating the same drum and then people just don't listen. For some reason, they don't listen. I don't know why. I tell you, what matters is marketing. Ethereum should know that what matters is marketing. The Bitcoin knows is what matters is marketing. You see Bitcoin on television all the time. It's constantly on television. Big ads. Everybody's talking about it all the time, which is why, even though it is ancient technology with very few features that is nearly useless for payments. No, you didn't just say that. Yeah, really, it is nearly useless for payments. You probably don't realize that because you haven't used it so long. You don't remember how it works. I'll brief you on how it works in a second. Right now, PulseChain has vastly superior features to Bitcoin. Vastly. No comparison. Higher throughput, lower fees, you name it. Like everything you want it to do, it does better, basically. I guess I'm going to actually go through the list. See, to me, I know this stuff so well, I don't want to spend my time going through this list. But for you guys watching at home, you might not know it so well. And also, because the Bitcoin guys have all the money, I don't really want to say bad things about Bitcoin. But I guess I have to, because otherwise, how do you make progress in life? If you choose inferior technology over superior technology, how are you supposed to make progress in life? Should we all like say great things about cassette tapes because the cassette tape guys have all the money? Yeah, man, cassette tapes are awesome because those guys have all the money. Screw CDs, screw MP3s. No, it's not it's not honest. It's not ethical. Just tell the truth. Bitcoin's price, better than almost any other price of crypto. Started the lowest, went the highest. But when I called the top many, many years ago at 65K, now it's 95K. You're up 50%. After a dip to 14K or 17K, went from 65 to 17. I mean, like, I don't know, man. Are you able to retire your family and create generational wealth off of like a 1.5x? Probably not. So while Bitcoin is great and they've got the most awareness and they've got the most marketing, it is not good technology. Well, should I say it's not good? It is good technology, but it is slow, expensive, and has very few features. And it's bad for the environment. No, you didn't say it was bad for the environment.
All right. 21 minutes in, Richie, and we're talking about the same stuff we used to talk about years ago. How Bitcoin is dinosaur tech. Now we have you talking about, obviously, Bitcoin marketing is big with commercials. Ethereum's not doing much. Probably why the price is where it's at. 21 minutes in, and we haven't talked about the fundamental value and position that we're in with PulseChain yet. I want to fast forward, but damn, I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't want to hear about this stuff. These are things I've heard him say since I was listening to him before Hex came out in December of 2019. I've heard this over and over. So after 2 years of PulseChain having a poor performance, way below sacrifice, seeing the sacrifice funds down 50%, a lot of upgrades and things, I'm starting to, the old tech analogy with Bitcoin is starting to apply to not only PulseX, like the swap, but PulseChain being a layer one, but like a direct copy of ETH. I want to hear things are going to get better. So I'm hoping the next 30 minutes is jumping into that. I hope. This is my first time hearing this. Because I don't want to hear none of this legal stuff, and I don't want to hear none of this talk about Bitcoin. I want to talk about PulseChain. You have the floor here, so let's tune in. Right now, I'm like 21 minutes of being pretty disappointed, and that might be why the price went up, and it's coming back down, and it didn't continue to go up. People were excited to hear his voice. It was a big moment, but before I even finished this, we didn't continue to go up. There must have been not that much of a spark outside of like, oh my God, he's on camera. I don't know if he's going to address anything. Let's see. We'll go back to you, Richie.
Yeah, it's bad for the environment. You don't have to nuke the environment to maintain a consensus network. There's tons and tons of networks out there maintaining consensus just fine that aren't nuking the environment. PulseChain is one of them. You don't have to buy a miner from a magical, mystical miner company, of which there's only a few. You don't have to plug it into some giant, massive source of electricity. You don't have to suck the middleman D of the electric company and give them nearly all your profit to go hurt the environment. Oh, but no, we use renewable energy. Yes, I'm glad. Congrats. But like, even if it didn't hurt the environment, even if it was all renewable has a limit. And when you use up the renewable, somebody else can't. Maybe you could have been smelting aluminum, doing whatever else. And then you're also not going to have 100% renewable. And then why do you care to make the electricity company rich anyway, even if it was renewable? And guess what, man? What price do you think they're selling down in order to pay that electricity bill? They're selling coins to pay that electricity bill. Do you like them selling down the price, billions of dollars over a decade to sell the price down for what? To what end? to enrich a few mining companies and a few electricity companies and a few facilities companies for what? To maintain a consensus network? We have proof of stake that works wonderfully well now. We do not need to blow up the environment or have expensive costs or have centralization in the form of mining networks like this Foundry network the United States oftentimes has, I guess, nearly 50% or something, which ain't so great if you're worried about 51% attack. But hey, like, man, I hate beating on Bitcoin, but like, if you don't tell the truth about it, are you really going to have people buying superior tech? Are you? Probably not. So someone has to bite the bullet and tell the truth about the stuff. And yes, it sucks because they're all tribal and they're going to hate on you, but they were going to hate on you anyway. So you might as well just tell the truth, and then they're just going to hate you anyway. You know, Bitcoin's had more than one inflation bug. PulseChain has not. Bitcoin doesn't have stable coins on it that are worth a crap. PulseChain does. Bitcoin does not let you launch your own tokens easily. PulseChain does. Go to pump.tires. You can run your own code, launch your own coin like that. You can publish documents very easily on PulseChain. You can communicate and message other people on PulseChain. Like, you can have privacy and anonymity if you want. There's ZK-enabled privacy tech on PulseChain. These things do not exist on Bitcoin, and they are awesome, and they are progress, and it's a better tool. You believe in toolboxes, and you believe in empowering people to be able to do what they want to do to make their lives better. PulseChain has superior tech. Hex has superior tech. PulseX has superior tech. Is there an on-chain exchange using Bitcoin to remove counterparty risk? Not that's any good, not at all. But there sure is on PulseChain. That's PulseX, pulsex.com. So, and these are just like, there's so many more features. It's like nearly endless how many superior features there are. It has a better logo. It has a better name. I like the founder better. He's still here, still talking. Yo, Satoshi, where you at, bro? Satoshi, you win any cases?
What the hell is going on here? Yeah, of course PulseX is that much better than Bitcoin. Everything that's an altcoin is better than Bitcoin. I want him to compare PulseChain to Sonic, maybe, you know, Solana. You know, give me the tech that's that much better than the competing assets out there that are killing Ethereum, all the layer 2s. Don't compare yourself to Bitcoin, Richie. Bitcoin sucks. We know that. They're not even in the same playing field. These are smart contracts versus a blockchain that was meant to be peer-to-peer transactions. I don't get why he's going on. It's like, I don't know why he's comparing the features of PulseChain compared to Bitcoin. Give yourself a fair fight, compare it to Ethereum, then compare it to all the layer 2s, and you don't got that much tech in between, okay? And he just got through saying he's the guy that got, maybe he's the guy that got to be the one to tell the truth. I'm telling you the truth. The validator situation sucks. Gas is not good on PulseChain when times are tough, meaning price going down and price going up. Times are tough, price going down, the tech sucks, okay? Gas fees skyrocket. Excitement's here, gas fees skyrocket, okay? In comparison to the TPS of what X1 is going to do or what Solana does in comparison to the gas fees and the entire amount of validators versus nodes that are on all these other networks. Will he talk about that? Or are we going to compare it to Bitcoin where that's just an easy fight? I'm getting annoyed. I want to hear something good after 2 years that's going to make me excited to buy. Not just buy Pulse because he came on camera. You got to give me something. You got to give me something.
In court to help set positive precedent and positive vibes for cryptocurrency at large? No. I did. Where you at, man? I'm right here. Where are you? Yeah. So, like, in the end, oh, by the way, to tell you how stupid cryptocurrency is, if you go on these sites where people go to discover new coins to get scammed by, so if you want to get scammed by Luna, it was right on the homepage. If you wanted to get scammed by Yams, it was right on the homepage. If you wanted to get scammed by a lot of different things, it was right on the homepage of a lot of different sites for you to get scammed by. But it wasn't on my homepage. I wasn't promoting that garbage. I wasn't promoting FTX. I was telling you to make sure your money wasn't on it. I wasn't promoting BlockFi. I was telling you to make sure your money wasn't on it. I wasn't telling you to use Celsius so you get your money off of it because you're taking counterparty risk. You're going to lose. It's the opposite of why the blockchain was invented. I was right. They were wrong. But all the scumbag trash maggots that promoted all that stuff, they just continue to operate like it never happened. You know, they're just like, oh, yeah, we don't learn. We're not going to learn. I was right. You guys were wrong. Kneel, respect, learn, because I've been telling the truth and spreading it since before you got here. Period. You know, even Michael Saylor. I was promoting Bitcoin when Michael Saylor said it was going to fail like online gambling when they passed the port bill and killed party poker or whatever. It's weird that the government just kills the whole industry with a law with a different name on it. Like Bank Secrecy Act, you have no secrecy. Patriot Act, you have less freedom, etc. You're just like, hey guys, why do you name these the opposite of what they mean? Like, what's up with that? Also, the magic numbers that they choose. You can travel with $10,000 across the border, but every year that $10,000 is worth less until the point where you're not going to be able to cross the border with enough money to buy a cheeseburger because 10K won't buy a cheeseburger. But the people in the government, they're just like, yeah, man, we didn't know inflation existed. So we just write these magic numbers that never update. They don't track inflation. Isn't that funny? What? And you want to go back and find out like which specific humans. I'll give you an example. Talk about beating the SEC. The SEC is not a thing. It's the couple humans at the SEC. There's 5 commissioners at the SEC. If they followed their own rules, some portion of those 5 had to vote to bring an action. Which 5 are they? We don't know yet. Was it all 5? Was it 3? Did they miscount? Who knows? We should find out, right? Freedom of Information Act. They can't hide behind investigation privilege or whatever because case closed, homie. Like the case gone. Bye-bye. So now Freedom of Information Act should allow to find out which of those 5 people decided to bring the silly thing. And then you're trying to assign blame. Like, okay, at this entity, who are the guilty parties and to what degree are each of them responsible? Hard to say. For instance, with this, like, who is the person that chose that 10K limit and why does it never move? And why are these magic numbers all over the place? And who are the people that made those mistakes? And do they ever apologize for it? Has anyone ever held them to account? Like, hey, you made everything in the world worse by not understanding inflation exists and choosing numbers that never update to account for it. Do you feel bad about that? Do you feel sorry about that? Have you ever tried to fix your mistake? Have you ever allocated any of your resources or time to undo the screw-ups that you've made in governance? And there's enough to go around, right? Like, there's bad laws all over the place globally. And I just never see anyone accepting responsibility. It's just like, man, anyway, I'm trying to make the world a better place. Speaking of making the world a better place, I raised $27 million for charity. Didn't give $27 million for charity, raised it. You guys gave $27 million for charity. You guys deserve the credit. And you guys gave your money to an entity or entities that are literally spending it on medical research to try and save your life. I love that. There's a lot of guys that say they support longevity, but when it comes time to raise the old money, they're not doing anything. You guys, me, PulseChain, you, together, raised $27 million for medical research to save lives. Didn't get any press. One news article. No one saw it. No one cared. Life's not fair. So you know what? You got to. It'll be fair if that research turns out to save some of our lives. That'd be pretty cool. You got to focus on marketing, guys. I can't express it to you enough. If you're not hearing people complain about your ads, no one's probably seeing them, or your message sucks. Because if you're out there advertising,
you got to focus on what he just said there. You got to focus on marketing, guys. You. So he's talking to me. He's talking about every influencer, every streamer, every person in the community. You have to focus on marketing. So although he's giving Ethereum, Vitalik, a lot of heat for not marketing, no commercials like Bitcoin, ads, all that stuff, he's not saying that he's going to do it either. It's us. And to me, I don't know. I haven't heard anything in this entire video yet, and I'm hoping there's 22 minutes left. Anything that gives me confidence when it comes to PulseChain. There still is going to be the existing one trick narrative where Richard is going to pump our bags. Richard is playing 3D chess and he's going to pump our bags. I need to hear something of confidence. I need to hear like a stat, look at the chart and this is where we're at. And, this is what happens. And anything that's like not what we're hearing right now. I'm hearing after 2 years plus of no video footage, the same stuff being repeated over and over. Yeah. You donated raised 27 million for, the Census Foundation. Okay, great. We've applauded you for that years ago, a long time ago, man. I needed something new here just to make me feel bullish. Me personally, I don't know what anybody else is feeling out there. I haven't even gone on Twitter to see the feedback. But I'm giving you my direct, like as I watch it live for the first time and as I see the charts right now, the emotion wasn't strong enough other than like the excitement behind him doing this after a while. Let's tune in. Let's see if I'm wrong.
A strong message, true message, a wholesome message. The evil, stupid scum of the world will come and yell at you. And I don't think that many people are yelling because I don't think that many people know you exist. How many people out there know that PulseChain is vastly superior to Bitcoin, has more opportunity, has more features, has better security track record? It's like infinitely superior. How many people know that? Not enough. Not enough. I've been in this industry before it was an industry. I've been in this before Bitcoin had a logo. I've been at this before Bitcoin had fees to transact on this network. I've been at this before you chose seed words to generate a secret phrase. Back when you installed the old Bitcoin wallet, it would just make 100 pairs of addresses and private keys. And if you overwrote it and used more than 100 pairs, it erased the old ones and you didn't have a backup. You just lost all your money. That's how long I've been at this. So to understand that what we have now is an opportunity vastly superior to what I had when I first got into Bitcoin is amazing. On-chain exchange, ZK, zero knowledge tech, NFTs, communicating, messaging on-chain. Like, bro, we have everything. We have everything. We have so much opportunity. We just need to tell people about it. And it's not a question if people want to participate. We know people want to participate because they buy absolute garbage. They buy absolute garbage. So if you give them the opportunity to buy something that's not garbage, maybe they'll participate. Maybe they'll transact. Maybe they'll associate. Maybe like the sky's the limit. You know, this is Turing complete technology that allows you to program whatever you want. It's a little slow. It's a little expensive. That's a price you pay for true decentralization and immutability and a record of truth. That's a price you pay. And a lot of people want to pay it, you know. I think somewhere within a few months after Hex launched, over 5 years ago, Ethereum was like $88. Yeah, the price is down from 5K, but it ain't $88. It's still $1,800. It's still, you know, an 18 or 20x from then. Well, we're crying with a loaf of bread on our arm, depending on how long you've been at this. So long story short, the news is good. I hope that governments everywhere improve themselves. What more can I do than speak the truth and publish it to you at great risk to myself, by the way? Look what happened to me personally, because I was willing to make a difference in this world. And look what happens to Donald Trump, and look what happens to Elon Musk, and look what happens to Joe Rogan. If you matter and you're trying to make this world a better place and you're making an impact and people are aware you exist, they're going to hate you. It comes with the game. And you just got to be able to accept that trade. That just has to be a trade that you're willing to make. And it's a trade I'm willing to make. And that's why I'm here. And I'm proud to be speaking to you guys. And to tell you the truth, everything is far better than it needs to be. It's far better than Bitcoin is or ever was. It's how is PulseChain currently right now not better than Ethereum? Real question. Does Ethereum have a feature that you wished that you had? It's what's that feature? L2 stealing your brand? Centralized mining, like where you give your coins to some entity and then they like stake them and then give you some yield. Like what is the feature? The feature I see that Ethereum has that I wish PulseChain had was good on-ramps. I like that. But minus the on-ramps, I guess they have a good privacy anonymity set for their zero knowledge, privacy tech too. PulseChain doesn't have that. There's only two things I can think of. We've got higher throughput. We've got lower fees. We don't have L2 vampires. I think we have a more decentralized.
Yeah, this guy's sitting here saying there's only two things he can think of. Two things he can think of. I'm a little mind blown, man. I think we don't have enough builders and major protocols over here. Right now, PulseChain is just mainly meme tokens right now, outside of the cores. PulseChain is flooded with the one thing Richard Hart has hated for the longest time and always says had no value. JPEGs, which are NFTs and meme tokens. That's all we got. That's all we got. That's all we got. We don't got like Aave over here. Aave just like went and launched its entire protocol blending over on the Sonic blockchain, right? This is weird. This is weird. 2 years, and this is weird to me. Like, I love you, Richard. I'm just not like on that cult tip anymore, right? I've seen your flaws. I got way more flaws than you, by the way. I'll never have as much money as you. The world is flawed. Everyone's flawed. But I thought you were perfect. I no longer think that. I know you're a human and I've seen your mistakes, but the reality here is PulseChain ain't got diddly squat going on for it right now. And the thing we need the most right now are the users with the $200 to $500. We need the users that are new onboards that want to park their money to grow it over time and will grow with the appreciation of PulseChain and find a place they call home and bring on more of the people that don't have it. Because not everybody has a ton of money like the vets of crypto. Not everybody's a whale. Some people just have $200. They're the most important users, but it's so hard to get them over here. And it's such a hurdle and loop to get through to even make that happen. It's man. No, keep the timestamps going. I see you in there. I see you guys in there. There's just so much to talk about. The PDI, the Mr. Dong vampire attack. Yeah, there's a lot. Like, where are we at? 34 minutes. And we know that PulseX has not had any significant upgrades to be better than Uniswap. We know there's no major protocols or even major developers that are building over here. We know that there is nothing outside of the core tokens other than, you got your PTGC, UFO, but the rest is just flooded with pump tires tokens. It's an entire chain of tokens he hates. Let's listen more. I need something from you. All right, let's tune in.
Centralized validation network, and I think we only would accept. I believe the PulseChain community and the validators on it would only accept tried and true tested upgrades from Ethereum, but Ethereum doesn't have that privilege. So Ethereum, when it upgrades, has to hope that the testing it did on its testnet worked right, and sometimes it doesn't. Geth just recently pushed an emergency hotfix because people were getting slashed because they weren't signing transactions properly, something to that effect. Check the Richard Hart account, I tweeted about it. So if you had the opportunity, let me put it this way. When crypto gets back up and starts making new all-time highs again, what do you think is likely to go up more? PulseChain or Ethereum? Which one's lighter? Which one has a founder that speaks English? I'm making fun of you there, Vitalik. I love that you're focused on privacy tech. I love that you haven't done a Satoshi and disappeared. I love that you are still, battling. You're still out there working. A lot of people just stop and they disappear. A lot. I'm not one of those guys. Yeah, so I think we have massive opportunity in front of us. Look at PulseX. The guys that bought the Uni token have been getting wrecked by the foundation there over and over. They dangle this thing like, we'll turn the fee switch on. You guys will be able to cash for some value. Well, it never happened. But then you look at PulseX and you're like, yeah, that buy and burn function is burning coins like crazy. It's doing what is a superior thing as far as market economics go, right? Like people are deciding to reduce the supply by deciding to run code that destroys coins. Thanks, people that are deciding to do that. That's very nice. Since supply and demand exists, with static or increasing demand, you get increasing price based on lower supply. That's it. So I think PulseX is way cooler than Uni. I think PulseChain is way cooler than Ethereum. Thank you guys for being our testnet. We really appreciate the work that you guys do. Hopefully, we'll be able to give you guys some things that you can adopt as well if you want. But you ignore a lot of my advice. I told you L2s are stupid. You did it anyway. I told you increasing the S load is stupid. You did it anyway. I don't know, man. There's a little bit of cultural difference. Ethereum's dual wielding vaccines. I'm not. There's a little bit of cultural difference. I like safe, secure, non-experimental things, and I'm not willing to push the limit or push the edge or risk security in order to get benefits no one cares about or don't really move the needle. So, long story short, I really do hope the Ethereum price goes up more than most people. I really do hope. I think I care more about the Ethereum price going up than Vitalik. I really do. So, but just like saying the truth about Bitcoin and its technical features, if you're afraid to speak the truth because you're afraid guys aren't going to buy, then we're going to buy anyway. It's the same with Ethereum. If you're afraid to tell the truth about Ethereum because you're afraid you're going to make somebody mad, bro, stop cucking yourself. They weren't going to buy anyway. So just speak the truth. There's a benefit to doing it. So everything's better than it's ever been as far as technology goes. You've got more features, you've got higher throughput, you've got lower fees. I mean, heck, even Ethereum has low fees now. Let me teach you something about fees. Could every company lower their profit margin to zero if they wanted to? Yeah, sure, I guess, unless you're already losing money, and then zero would look great to you. But if you're making money, you probably could lower your profit to zero. Is that good for your company? Maybe not, because then you can't pay for R&D, or you can't pay for marketing, or you destroy the industry so that other parties don't want to work with you because there's no profit in it left for them, right? There's a reason that a lot of manufacturers globally try to enforce an MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price, because guys have seen what happens when there's really a race to the bottom. And then whereas you used to make money, now you don't make money anymore. Block space and blockchains are kind of the same thing. If it is true that supply and demand exists, then you, I believe, can underprice blockchain space. And when you price it too low, it ain't great. There's an ideal, a race to zero is not the ideal way for any organization to function that has other goals aside from price. So would you have, I'll give an example. Would you have preferred Ethereum to cost $1 to send a coin on, but have a $5,000 price? Or would you prefer Ethereum today, where it costs 2 cents to send a coin, but the price is $1,800? Now I'm making an assumption that those two things are directly tied together. That assumption is, specious. I don't even know if that's the right word. It's a big fancy word, $10 word right there. I think they are related. And I think the fees to transact, I think it's a reflective system. If fees to transact go up, people have to buy the coin. If people have to buy the coin, the price goes up. If the price goes up, people like the coin that has the price that goes up. So then they buy it, and then more people need to transact it, and then that moves the prices, and that leaves opportunity for art bots, and that leaves opportunity for traders, and people love volatility, and you get this ratcheting magnification effect, which is part of the reason why networks that price all of the other coins that launch in them in the native token have that reflexivity. They all go up together. But if you didn't have that mechanic and you had a token that was successful tied to a stable coin, if that coin became popular, people would have to, this is what happened with Trump coin, by the way. Trump was tied to stable coin on the Solana network. If you wanted to buy Trump, you would take your Solana and trade it for stable, and then the stable would buy the Trump, and you get the Trump, and the liquidity pool would get the stable. But in effect, all it did was sell a ton of Solana for stable. So if you tie coins to stables and they become popular on your network and they don't bring new money from the outside in, and they just take the existing guys and get them to buy in, you just basically incentivized a bunch of people to buy stable. And is that why you're in cryptocurrency?
I don't think he's got any room to talk about bringing new people in, bro. Solana's brought so many people into the network. They didn't need to worry about bringing in new people for Trump. They had to worry about people slowing their roll because there were so many people. Even that particular moment at the peak of like the Trump rally with the meme token, so many people were bridging over and so many swaps were happening at the same time. It got congested, but it was nowhere near the congestion that I experienced on PulseChain, right? So I just don't think he has like really any like experience with his own chain, even a hair of a fraction of what happened during that moment to say that statement. I'm just being honest here. Love you, Richie, but goddamn, bro, like you cannot throw that out there with somebody who was buying Trump when it launched, when everybody thought about it, and then throw that out there like, oh, all you're doing is creating sell pressure on Solana and not bringing in new people. Like they got so many new onboards every day in Solana, it's not even funny. If we had one day of the volume and new users that onboard to Solana on a daily basis on PulseChain, we don't have enough validators or enough power in existence on the entire chain to actually perform like a normal blockchain. It would be like 56K dial-up on that day, okay? I want to hear what in the world are we going to do to make these problems go away, because I'm not here because, listen, everyone is like, God, Kendall, guess what? I know that'll come, but I'm going to have a sell order set up. It's going to do it for me automatically along with all the other whales, and you're just going to watch the green candle go up and go, God, candle's here. and then be sitting there with the 666 dip like, oh my God, I should have sold because liquidity's thin. So what makes a God candle go up, correct, and then start to gradually go back up so that you can get some of those gains? New users, traffic, volume, people wanting to come to the chain. I love you, Richie, but Jesus, bro, like you got nothing. You cannot use PulseChain in the same sentence as Solana. You can't. You can't say anything. Okay, I'm already almost 1 hour into this video here. I'm a big investor at the sacrifice and after the fact of the sacrifice. I've had good days and bad days, a lot of bad days and a lot of good days. 2 years, you don't say diddly squat on camera like this in a recorded video or any live stream. And we are going around in circles around the problems that we have. The extractor with PDI, why you mentioned PDI, and you claim you don't talk about scams. Why PulseChain can't handle when PDI goes up or down. Why the transaction fees go up. I need to hear more. Let's give it back to Rich.
To incentivize counterparty risk, because a stablecoin with an admin key that anyone could turn off, not anyone, but an admin or whoever stole his keys from him could just deactivate your stable or all the stables. That ain't real stable, right? So it's not the ideal reality for crypto isn't to be sitting in counterparty risk, is to remove counterparty risk. And yes, we have volatility, but if it's mostly volatility to the upside, man, that's just fabulous. The history of Bitcoin's been mostly go up for 3 years, down for a year, up for 3 years, down for a year. Mostly. It's been mostly up. It's just how you go from something that costs nothing to something that costs near $100,000 today. So I see limited value in talking about Ethereum to the Ethereans and talking about Bitcoin to the Bitcoiners, because the real opportunity is in the unwrecked. And the unwrecked are people that hold gold at all-time highs. And I guess Bitcoin near all-time highs. And I guess the S&P 500 near all-time highs, but I think it's in a pretty good dip right now. No one expected Trump to do the things he did. That was kind of a surprise. So the market's like, yo, what are you doing? Very interesting. But long story short, what we have is amazing. If you guys talk about it, cool. If you don't, I'm willing to bet other people will. The only thing that's missing is marketing, and it's far better than it needs to be. And the opportunity is absolutely gigantic. It's bigger than what you have with Bitcoin, in my opinion. You're up 50% from 4 or 5 years ago. It's not that great. It's better than being down, but it's not like gold at all-time highs. I mean, gold's up 50%. Gold went from 2K to 3,300, 3,400. That's better. I wish you guys could see my hands. It zoomed in too much. I'm using my hands and can't see them. Unfortunate. I did this old thing like I used to in my very, very first videos, where I use like a triangular kind of light, makes like an up arrow. So I was like, up arrow, that would make a cool shape in the iris here. What else? Anything else? Prices, Ethereum, opportunity, regulatory certainty. You can work with us or discover new competitors that are very competitive. Your call, guys. I mean, what's the only thing missing? On-ramp, privacy, anonymity set. Maybe margin, some margin trading thing. Oh, by the way, like so many coins that launch just suck, and it doesn't matter if they're on PulseChain. They probably just suck. But like, it's just so suckville. This is why I talk about so few things, because almost everything sucks. So I don't want to talk about it. If you
There's 7 minutes left. 7 minutes left. And I think my theory is right. He said, pause it. There's a clue. What, the green in his eyes? I'm not sure what you meant outside of that. 7 minutes left to hear from good old Richie. And I think I'm right about what's going to happen with the price of Ethereum. He didn't mention Petra Tech at all. He didn't mention one thing about the Petra Tech. To me, it's a nothing burger. That could be why at the beginning of the stream I thought that he did this to actually have like a second impact as far as the PulseChain market of ETH goes up, and then Pulse goes up because it's a leverage because of ETH going up. Then he has a video coming out, and then the Petra technology is like, oh my God. I think he made this video at perfect time because he's not a fan of the tech, and he knows what I know. It's for the layer 2s. It ain't going to help a layer 1 like him. It helps the layer 2s. It helps the validators go from a whopping 32 ETH to 2048 or something like that. Might be 2400. Go Google it. It's up in the 2000 range. I think he knows it's a nothing burger. He's trying to combat the downside of what's about to happen in the market. That's starting to be my guess because he ain't mentioned the Petra upgrade. He ain't really talking much about a whole lot of nothing when it comes to PulseX, PulseChain, the things that have occurred. I don't know what the purpose of this video was other than just to throw you a bone to give some buy pressure, because obviously he knew he makes a video, there's going to be some buy pressure. But if I'm him, I don't just throw a bone out there to make buy pressure unless I know there's going to be some sell pressure. And what would cause the sell pressure? And that is the Bollinger Band squeeze, possibly about to dump the hell out of Ethereum. On top of that, the Feds are sitting there waiting to make a decision on something that could affect the entire market. Back to you, Richie.
Another education. If new people come to your chain because they discovered you from some stupid thing, and that new stupid thing is tied to the native coin, then people will have to buy the native coin to get the new stupid thing, and it will lift the prices of all the things on your chain, or attempt to. It will put pressure in that direction. If, however, some stupid thing launches, and new people from the outside aren't coming to buy it, and it's just existing people on the chain already buying the stupid thing, you've got a comparison to make. Who was more likely to have sold those coins and hurt the price? The person that just launched the stupid thing, or the people that were otherwise holding the coins? Now, I haven't done 100% perfect research, or I guess not that much research at all, but my gut feeling is, for some reason, the people that were holding the coins were more likely to keep holding them than whenever a stupid founder launched some stupid thing and got rich for the first time. It seems like every single time that happens, they nuke the price, and then it sucks for everybody. So like when an exchange online got hacked for $1 billion and the hackers sold that $1 billion of Ethereum for whatever, that's $1 billion not in the order book waiting to buy. I mean, it's not that simple, but like if a dude sells $1 billion of the thing that you wanted to sell before you sell, the price you're going to get is going to suck. That's what's up. You can't just sell $1 billion of the thing and be like, it's not going to affect me. I'm going to sell after that guy. No, it sucks. Usually, got to wait a while for other people to buy back up that $1.5 billion or whatever. Not an exact science, but supply and demand exists. Supply and demand exists, and it works. And if someone increases the supply to the market by selling it, it hurts the price. Period. If you don't think that's true, go argue with every economics textbook in the history of man ever. The same thing happened like a week or two ago, maybe even just a week ago, where a guy got hacked for 330 million Bitcoin, and it got sold for Monero. I guess the hacker likes anonymity. Apparently, anonymity is a human right. Kind of interesting. Anyway, it lifted the price of Monero, like I think doubled or something. Maybe it went from like 2 to 400. I don't have the chart memorized. And then it dipped. It didn't dip back to where it started. I think it dipped, retraced like half of it, and just like picture of the chart in my head. But I don't remember the prices exactly. I just remember up and then like down half, retraced half a move. When your coin gets nuked because somebody launched a stupid project and then sold the crap out of it, or it gets nuked because someone got hacked and sold the crap out of it, the price chart and the market and the supply and demand sees those things as the same. It just sees sell pressure. I've occasionally thought of addressing you guys as sell pressure. Hello, sell pressure. How are you today? Whining and crying and complaining while pressing sell? Are you yelling and complaining at people not pressing sell? But I haven't done it. Yet. But that's funny. I saw one time a long time ago, I saw a comment that said, beware ever getting a community because they're just a group of people that calls you a scammer anytime the price goes down. I hope our community is better than whatever community that guy was talking about. So look, long story short, all of you guys could disappear And this technology is still going to kick ass and be amazing. The only thing that's missing is the marketing, in my opinion. Absolute garbage is being bought by the billion because people heard about it. So if you guys want to spend your time doing something similar to how I spend my time spreading the good word about free and open source software that could improve the world, there's even a discount for doing it. There's a lot of, having an educational charity that spreads the good word about things that might improve the world is looked upon positively in many jurisdictions. And there's financial incentives, grants, rewards, discounts, tax exemptions, you name it, for charitable things, So spreading the good word about free and open source software that really could change man's relationship to government, that really could reduce the amount of war in the world, that really could increase efficiency, increase availability, decrease costs, increase features, improve trust. All of these things are what a well-designed and well-used blockchain bring. Now, do a lot of people use it the right way? Absolutely not. A lot of people are very dumb and do very dumb things. But you can't blame the technology for that. A lot of people accidentally shoot themselves. It's not usually the gun's fault. So what else? So I beat the SEC. Opportunity's huge. It's better than it needs to be. Only needs marketing. Is that it? Let me think. X, PulseChain, PulseX, pumped out tires. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no reason I can't do more videos like this if something else pops in my head. So it's good hearing from you guys silently. I'm just going to assume all you guys are out there saying wonderful, beautiful things. So it's good to be back. And I hope to make the world a better place. And I'm glad to hear that the Sense Foundation, or Aubrey de Grey's other foundation, is using money that was generated and raised by me and PulseChain and you guys in order to make the world a better place. It's really hopefully making an impact that a lot of other people aren't making. And I mean, if I died today, which is unlikely because God, look how healthy I look. It's like, yeah, man, at least I raised $27 million for charity. At least I built free and open source software. I did the best I could. At least I did the best I could to set positive precedent for publishing free and open source software that allows you to publish and associate immutable truth online. Just awesome. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
That was a very interesting 52-minute speech or video. Only interesting just because of the timing, but I haven't heard anything that I had never heard before. Pretty much all the same things he's been saying for years. Been a while, I think. Let's see. Can't expect him to come on here and give everybody what they want. He got too much power. Yeah, it is what it is, man. I think he's preaching that this is like really good tech, and from the experience and from what we now know, it's not the best tech out there. It's not even close. This is coming from somebody who's way over invested on the sacrifice. I'll admit that right now, that I'm not that person because of that reason. It's going to just be in denial and lie to my audience that this is the best technology out there. It's not even close. It's pretty bad fork technology, in my opinion, compared to DeFi. So as much as I want new users, the chain can't handle it. The chain can't handle it at this point. Could it one day? Maybe. So for me, like as an investor, I want to know that now that we've experienced that, and I know he's seen the latency and the things that happen in the gas fees and the congestion, maybe at some point he'll address it. So I don't know if there's really much he can do or can say. I think the expectations that the community has at this point, and in all honesty, is the reason why we're probably dwarfing ourselves to even smaller numbers. And I'll pull it up here. Give me a quick second. Give me a moment. Is this right here. This right here is the sentiment of PulseChain. A Richard tweet, a Richard live stream, we know is not going to be enough to take us to Valhalla. All right. We know new users is going to be hard to do. I live stream every day. I talk about PulseChain. I show the altcoins. I show the opportunity. A lot of people do. But the investors that have been here for a long time and are here for the long run too as well, whether they're stuck or they just want to continue to believe, the hopium is always set Richard, starts with Richard. And the hopium is that this would be worth a lot of money because Ethereum goes up and that this would be used to pump our backs. You never hear on any other network, oh, we're waiting for the Solana founder to live stream and the SAC funds, they're going to pump our bags. Like, this is the only chain you hear a lot of this stuff. So I just think it's just really, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow because, like, you don't ever want to lose a lot of money in crypto, but I had to lose a lot to make a lot and then lose it over and over again. I've spread myself out. But if our ultimate leverage is Ethereum, and I'm not, like, me personally, I'm not a big believer in the price going to all-time highs, but I think just PulseChain for me is just going to be like, let it be where it's at. Let it be where it's at. Like, no new users, right? I want new users, but not to the point where it's going to congest the ecosystem and gas fees are going to go up. I'm mainly going to be on here looking for, and this doesn't mean because we don't have the best technology, because we don't have this and that, that doesn't mean we can't make money. There is a lot of money to be made here because of the low liquidity across the board. But it does put me out of range outside of the cores. Like, I want to own the cores. But it does let me know that there's more money to make on the altcoins for that reason. And the exit is going to be a smaller door for most of us. So it's just timing, right? So me learning more and more about the reason why I've never made as much money on certain opportunities that I wanted or lost was because of greed and waiting too long. And I think a lot of people in PulseChain might have held or staked through the all-time highs of Hex, like the OG Ethereum Hex. So it's like, don't be greedy this time around, Thomas. If you're here at 0.05, right? And let's say you hit a 10x on Hex because it goes to 5 cents. Take it. Take it when it's on the table. Bring it home to the family. Put yourself a little bit ahead in life, and put it out there in the world and be happy with it. Because I know that if we do 10x from here, we're at 5 or 6 cents Hex. I do know in the back of my mind there's a lot of sell pressure there. But I'll also feel the FOMO of Twitter and social media and influencers that are going to make me feel like we're going to 20 cents next. We're going to $1. So I think it has to be like, just start chipping away, like at profits, right? And maybe I do miss big opportunities when that happens on this investments and others, but it's because, like, the low liquidity environment. So if, like, I'm in Teddy early, right, at an $8.7 million market cap, and maybe it 3x's to 25, 30 million, take it, make it stable, make it real, catch some dips on some other stuffs, right? But I feel like you have to kind of like adapt and move, make your moves, make your money, and move on and go to the next opportunity with the low liquidity and the next opportunity. You kind of do have to follow the influencers. So, like, here you have a prime example of, like, the B Roots effect. No longer supports Satropa. No longer supports the original Teddy. Now, him and his followers are here. And that being such a small community, him having a large percentage of the community is going to bring these to new levels. Well, it's a pump tires token. There's really no utility. It has much less utility than it did with the Tropa. With the Tropa, the narrative was bigger than just a meme. It was a part of a liquidity web of things that were going to help drive not only the price of PEDI, but the price of teddy bear. So now you just have a straight meme, 1 billion supply, small liquidity, room to grow, the biggest marketer and all the chain supporting it, right? Shifted gears to a new one. All those people are there. You grow with it, you sell, you move on to the next thing because they will move to a new token, right? So rotating is going to be the game here, right? And finding those opportunities. I think, that's where I'm going to be at because I'm like, when I first got into everything in crypto, guys, like it was way different. There's a lot of money in these things. There's a lot of things that I think are going to be, probably do very well over time. And I can't predict everything. But I just see things now like I bought so much Cardano at one point. When I actually lived in Vegas during COVID, I believe I was buying it between 3 to 7 cents. And I see the price now. It's like, okay, take the money and run. Cardano's not going to do a whole lot of shocking the industry. The ones right here are like the ones I ignore the most. Like here, this token here, you never see me talk about it, right? And it's not that I'm bitter about it. It's like I know nothing about, SUI token or SUI, whatever they call it. I don't even know how to pronounce it, right? But you look at where they were and where they've gone. I just imagine myself and go, man, this developed a lot quicker than some of the things that I've been in for a long time, right? Didn't take that many years to get noticed and develop and do X's. There's a lot of things that I'm in right now that it's taking time for, I think, the industry to realize technology as it moves along. That one right there, happened right in front of my very eyes. I've been in Stellar Lumens a long time too. I haven't seen anybody talk about it either too. Like, I love Stellar Lumens, but I don't think people realize it's like the people's XRP. So when I first got into it, it was because I saw, it's not that it's competing with XRP. It's XRP like tech, but for peer-to-peer instead of like bank-to-bank, But it's had a run since, I've been in it. And I have these wallets that I made when this first came out that are just like these desktop wallets that I still have to get chunks out of and put them onto a ledger. But this has gone a long way. But these are things where I thought would be like $10, $20, when people discovered the tech behind it. Because I like at heart, I love tech tokens, utility tokens. I've been in them for a long time. And that's just like, the crowd always has their head turns for a long time at meme tokens. I can't wait till meme tokens actually die. And utility is like the one and only thing left standing. This is one of my favorites. When I first got into HBAR, I had the vision that it was a blockchain killer, right? Like literally blockchain killer. The tech is supposed to be better than blockchain. It is, right? I was excited when Saucer Swap came out. I was like, hey, this is going to be the next thing where we're going to shift. And it looked like the reason why Saucer Swap and all those exchanges didn't do well was because of DeFi. Not only was booming on Ethereum, but they were birthing on the layer 2s like Binance Smart Chain, which is like backed by CZ and a lot of big players. It just never happened. Like HBAR had these massive partnerships, massive, right? I'm talking the Googles, the IBMs and all that. And DeFi was just a different sector, decentralized finance. So I think the wave will come back. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm starting to realize people are not too worried about the tech. They just want to be at the scene where the money's at. So until meme tokens actually like die. I don't know if a lot of the onboarding money is going to find a lot of my positions in utility yet in this cycle, whatever cycle we're in, right? And I was talking about this week, although Ethereum is getting the Petra upgrade, or Petra, sorry. If you look it up on Google, I want you to Google Bollinger Band Squeeze, okay? We're about a few days out from this either having a really big impact with the Bollinger Band Squeeze going up or down. But like I said, the technology, the upgrade, is in favor of layer 2s and the validators. And I'm like, okay, does the crowd know that? Is everyone excited about something that they think is going to pump their bags, but really it's not going to do that direct of an impact? Over the course of time, it should and will, like, overall, but we'll see. XLM is my second biggest holding, HBAR 3. Yeah, bro, I love XLM. And, these things have just been in my bags for a while. And everything, like whatever value XLM is at, let's say it hits $1 or $2, right? And I'm talking to you, Viber, because there's not a lot of people that are in these ones. I look at this as like my retirement, right? I'm going into my 40s. So I want to have these assets that I think over time evolve, and then I can like sell them, and for my kids to live off of them one day. So I literally have to stare at the on paper value for the next 10 years. And I think it's like tough to go through these cycles and watch them go up and down. But I'm wondering, like, sometimes I get nervous. I'm like, will they get adopted in the next 10 years? Like, everyone loves memes. XLM will be there. They're being held back. The tech is too good, too disruption. Yeah, I believe so too. So, like, those are the blue chips, right? I look at these investments like XLM, like the XRPs. I hate talking about XRP because how much I have stuck on like Bittrex and a few other exchanges I probably will never get the money off of. But those are like you hold it in the S&P 500 for the long run, right? Like, I'm not trading them, selling them, touching them, in hopes, that one day, they make a difference. Mine is BSV and EHEX. HBAR has 4 countries issuing CBDCs on it. The future winners are capped now, ironically. Yeah, see, HBAR to me is like the most disruptive technology out there. It's been out for a while. What spoiled it? I just thought at one point it was like, whoa, the moment people discovered this. But the industry's slow at evolving because of the amount of people that weren't in crypto in 2019, 2020, around those times where I was discovering some of these techs like HBAR during COVID, or before COVID. It's just like it's a slow move up, right? Because people are just starting to find out like how they even get crypto on a wallet and all that. So the transition's going to be slow, but the tech's there. And I do think the tech is way ahead of its time because it's way ahead of the crowd. And now we're like, okay, you see all this stuff getting old, great. You like Solana, you like this and that. Just wait till you get here, and I'll be waiting, right? I Googled balls and band sleeve. It was very disturbing. Everyone should be doing exactly what you are. These pains are the future X's. Yeah, I don't know, like, because my favorite things to talk about are like the low cap gems, right? But once upon a time, when I was buying these, they were low cap gems, right? And now they're big market caps. They're not at like crazy numbers that I wish. Like, I could have sworn to you when I first bought HBAR, it was going to be like a $5 token, right? And then I think it will be one day. It'll be disruptive. But I even had those moments with Polkadot, and then I realized the technology was not there. But I haven't seen that. I haven't had that feeling yet with any of the utility tokens. But DOT, at one point, I was like, dude, this is awesome. But then I started to use it, and I was like, no, I don't like this after all. I don't like it. Get me out of here. But it seems to be still doing all right over the course of time that I've seen it come out of nowhere. There's a lot, though. A lot of people that I know are very involved with internet computer ICP, and I have yet to jump into that. They have their own like DeFi community and ecosystem. I don't know much about ICP outside of like, okay, I've gone over there and bought a little bit, not enough to say that it's going to help me in the long run if something happens, but I just flat out don't get it. And the community is really, really, really small. So room for growth, yeah. Market cap 2.42 billion. Isn't it weird that you could still call this like a low cap gem at 2.4 billion? It blows my mind. If Binance lists PulseChain, that could be the window for future companies to put their profits in the PulseChain like MicroStrategy does with Bitcoin. Yeah, I wonder, somebody needs to build a bridge that's fast. You use Rhino, like to go from any network, 2 minutes, less than 1 minute most of the time it's there. Cheap, quick, and affordable. So I want that experience with PulseChain too. I just don't know if there's the builders that have the ability to do that are on our side that are going to make that happen. But I sure do hope it does. I sure hope it does, because we definitely need to get off of depending on Richard Hart. Yeah, he's smart. Yeah, he's a billionaire. But there's a lot of things that he could have done that he hasn't done, like a block explorer, because it's expensive. So we can't expect for him to just dish out his fortune to pump our bags, when literally he just called us sell pressure, which he's right. There's a lot of sell pressure. There is a lot, you know. Anyways, guys, don't forget to pound the like button, drop a comment. Until next time, we shall do it again. Yeah, dog.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including heat.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including got me on Navex and bought me some Joe. Farming go crazy, you know how it goes. Zoopy on Phantom, I got a few nodes. Sticking my ranks, you know I'm gon' hold. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including heat.
Yeah, dog.